Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Startup Dunedin podcast. Today I was joined by Toby and Dre, the founders of my program. They took out Best Business Case at Audacious Semester One this year and came on the show to share their journey through Audacious, as well as what they're doing to help change how physios help New Zealand Kiwi patients. It was a really interesting chat, and these guys have some pretty cool early experience in the startup scene here in Dunedin, so I hope you enjoy the episode. Toby and Dre, welcome to the Startup Dunedin podcast. How are you guys doing?
It's good.
Good, mate. Yeah, good.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
You guys are student physiotherapists, and you have been looking at physiotherapy and realizing that a lot of people aren't doing the exercises, and you've come up with a solution for that. Do you want to talk us through what that is?
Yeah, man. So, pretty much, as you just said, me and Dre, we lived together last year, and, on our placements, we're kind of why aren't patients doing exercises? It seems so simple, yet people don't do it. And we know it ourselves because we don't do them either.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Everyone wants to do their exercises.
Yeah.
No one comes to physio and with the mindset, I'm not doing these exercises. But still, there's just this issue where people aren't doing their exercise, and it's such a big part of physiotherapy. So we just think it's a bit of an issue, really.
Yeah. So what we're kind of doing is we're just trying to change the way exercise prescription happens within the physiotherapy clinic, whether that be through an app or a website or a service of some sort that we're trying to figure out at the moment. But we're just trying to help empower Kiwis to tackle their rehab.
Cool. And in terms of why people don't do the exercises, have you guys figured out what those reasons are and how you're going to address that?
Yeah, so we've been talking obviously to a lot of people when we started bouncing ideas off each other, and it just always came back to the main things of you just forget, or you just can't be bothered, really. And then there's also that little bit of lack of motivation in there as well. And so we just thought, well, there has to be a simple way. And also you talk to patients and friends and family, and when they go to the physio, they obviously get their exercises to do, but it's in a form of some stick figures on a bit of paper, or just some other way where there's a picture on a bit of paper, and it's just really hard for a patient, someone who doesn't have that health literature, to actually know what they have to do, and it's something they just can't relate. So we just think it's there's something that we can fix in there.
Improve.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, so if someone forgets, and then if they don't know how to do it in the first place,
exactly.
and then the distance from them being taught how to do it, becomes more, then it becomes a lot harder, right, for them.
Yeah. So you think you're at home, you're watching TV, I don't know, Shortland Street's on, it's getting pretty exciting. Then you think, I need to do my exercises, and then your next thought is, I don't even know how to do my exercises. You're probably not going to try to figure it out. You're probably going to carry on watching Shorty Street, and that's that.
Yeah, for sure. Shorty Street's important.
So in terms of who your customer is, obviously you've got an end user, which is the person that needs to do their physio exercises. Who's actually paying for the app or program or service that you guys are providing?
So currently we a part of that empowering the patients, we don't want them to have to pay for it because it's another obstacle for them to get onto the exercise program, sort of it. But we're thinking that the physio clinic would pay a little bit extra to help improve their patient outcomes. So we're thinking initially we're going to be charging those clinics to pay for it, but then hopefully somehow we can incorporate ACC within this, because if it can save the country money in terms of those claims, then surely they'd want to pay for it.
So from the physiotherapist's perspective, you're looking at physiotherapists that prioritise patient outcomes over return customers? Is that right?
For sure. Yeah. I think that if you're in physiotherapy, you should be in it for the people, not for the money. So if you're in it for the money, then maybe you should change the way you think. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, that's why we all got into it in the first place, really, was to just help people out.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And obviously you guys came through the Audacious startup program. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about how you found out about that and why you chose to get involved?
Yeah, so when was it? It was, January, February?
Yeah.
We kind of saw about it, and we were also talking to you because I knew you previously. And I was on placement here in Dunedin, whereas Dre...
Yeah, so I'm up... So in our fourth year in physiotherapy, we go on placement. So I'm placed up in Hawke's Bay, which is where my family lives, and Toby's down here in Dunedin. So there's also been that distance that we've had to work with as well while developing this app. But yeah.
So I kind of heard about it through you. Figured we'd go to it. Sounded kind of cool. Heard you could win some money. We're like, well, we could use some money. And I kind of went to the first night. I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. A few weird people here, but we'll be right. And then missed a couple, then came back, and then we really started talking about it more. Started calling up Andreas and was like, hey, this is pretty cool. They're kind of helping us out. This could be something. And then I stuck into each of those sessions that were each week, and then said to Dre that we'd be pitching, and we pitched, and then subsequently we won.
Best business case, right?
Yeah, best business case.
Yeah, I think we had no real idea what we were doing. But
like we still don't really like the business side of things.
Yeah, but
and we know a little bit about physiotherapy.
Yeah.
So why do you guys think you took up best business case? You've got a hunch?
I think maybe like we were quite confident.
Yeah, we're
in
confident
what we're doing,
and it's quite relatable. Like you go into a room full of people and ask how many people went to the physio. Most people put their hands up. How many people then did their exercises, and everyone brings their hands back down. So that kind of just really drives home with people. And then once you chuck a couple of numbers in there with what this is like equaling, and then if you then take out it's increasing your risk of re-injury, then it's quite a catchy subject.
Yeah, totally. It's got that hook that's easy to understand, and
obviously exactly
the market to back it up. Which is really cool.
And it's such a big problem as well, not only in New Zealand but worldwide. So
yeah, totally. I mean, people don't only get injured in New Zealand, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess we're able to provide just like a little glimpse of a pathway that could be taken to help improve it. So I think that's why it really got the judges on board, and we walked away with the top prize.
The nice prize, yeah, definitely. So, in terms of your relationship, not to get too romantic, but when did you guys meet each other? Was it during physiotherapy school? Was that how you guys came across each other? And then was the idea something that you were immediately talking about? Like how did that come about? Because that was obviously before Audacious, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I can't remember when it was. We met second year up.
Yeah, second year physio, and I don't know what we were doing. Yeah. But we're in the same classes together, and anyway, we just like chuck it off. And
we lived together last year, so we started flatting together because I lost a few of my friends because I'd graduated, so I needed a new place to live.
And you took them out.
I swooped in.
He took me in and then near the end of the year, they give us some business lectures on how to start up your own private practice. And we kind of took those principles of that and applied it to the idea that we said before. We were like, people aren't doing their exercises. Like, why not? Can we create something? So we kind of went through the list, sorted it out, talked to a few lecturers, talked to like people such as Katrina Bryant and David Baxter, got some initial consults with them, and then they were like, yeah, this is cool. Like, maybe you could talk to these people or do this. And then we kind of did more.
Snowball effect. And obviously like last year when we were living together and also doing placement, we would just come back from placement some days and be like, man, like none of my patients did their exercises. And Toby like, yeah, same with me. And then it's just like, just from there we just bounce ideas off each other. And then like how Toby said, started talking to a couple of people and then just picked up momentum. I think we went to a couple of events with Startup Dunedin.
Right. What was it?
Found X?
Was it Found X?
Challenger Series?
That's
Final pitch
Series. We turned up there.
Yeah.
We saw there's free food and alcohol.
Yeah.
And then we learned some stuff as well.
Awesome. So obviously it's quite a common problem, like you're saying, you guys coming home from placement being like, nobody's done their exercises.
Yeah.
Why do you think it hasn't been solved yet? Why do you think nobody's managed to crack it?
It's definitely, it's not just exercise as well. Like it's from after talking, as you talked with Matthew Jenkins as well, and after talking to him about the adherence to anything that we're trying to change in our lives, whether it be do more exercise or whether it be quit smoking or anything along those lines. There's forming those habits is difficult and everybody's different. So I think we just haven't found that key ingredient for people to change for exercise. And like we're, as you say, we're only starting out. We're pretty young. We don't know lots about the profession, but we're learning, and we think we have a few key ideas which might help.
Yeah. I guess we're the ones stupid enough to be like, let's do this.
We got nothing to lose, so
100%.
let's just go for it.
So when you guys first had the idea, was it in the current form that it's in now, or were you imagining something quite different at the start?
I think at the beginning we were also talking about creating like a platform for health professionals to communicate on.
Yeah.
I think that was like our
Within
big idea of changing the world, and then we soon realised that's a huge task. And
When you say healthcare professionals, you
Yeah.
mean like a physio talking to a doctor,
Yeah.
talking to a nutritionist, etc.
just having everything
About one patient.
Yeah, about one patient.
Okay.
And then that kind of moved on to actually let's more involve the patient in this type of thing. And then we went on, then we carried on obviously talking, and then we settled on the patient not doing their exercises. And we weren't really quite sure how we were going to implement that. And so then we just started talking about maybe an app could be one of the, could quite possibly be a solution.
Okay.
Yeah, so we changed quite a bit. Yeah, because the original idea is, as Jay said, that big platform, and then we kind of thought, let's get more specific with that, just exercise. Even though we knew that was the main problem, we wanted to go big as well. But
Yeah.
we brought it back down to this.
And we also redirected it to what we're doing at the moment as physiotherapists. So we really wanted to focus on and intertwine it with our profession.
Cool. And some of those changes in your thinking, did those come as you went through Audacious as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like, I think because each session was slightly different concepts with like marketing and then actually solving the problems and actually finding out problems from the customers and things like that. So obviously the whole Lean Canvas project. But yeah, definitely Audacious helped a lot. And also the people in Audacious. So not just the program itself, but being in that space and talking to those people.
Sure.
Yeah.
More like, they helped really just like chisel out what we wanted to do, as we had this big ball of energy, and then they kind of helped redirect it and like into like a good pathway that we could actually pull something off.
And ask the right questions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was pretty much what it was, like asking the right questions and talking to the right people.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't know when you're starting off what questions you should even be asking or where you should be spending your time.
What we need to tell people and those types of things, what we need to think about, like how to do a PowerPoint, really. Those types of things. Yeah.
Cool. And I guess off the back of that, what advice would you give someone that's thinking of doing Audacious? Is there something that you guys think that you did, I guess, to take out best business case, or conversely, is there something that you guys wish that you'd done to get more out of the experience?
Yeah. I think firstly, like if you have an idea, just go with it, really. Like just don't hold back. If you think this is a problem and that you're passionate about it, I think that's a really good starting point. And like don't just sit back and be like, nah, it probably won't work. Just give it a go, because you got nothing to lose, like what Toby said.
And I think Audacious is a good place to start as well. Like as I was saying before, like each of those weeks slowly develops the idea. So even if you have no idea where to begin, like Audacious is a good place to start, or even just talking to people within the startup community is good. Yeah, but I feel like I wouldn't do anything differently. Like it's kind of a cliche saying, like you learn from your mistakes, but I think
you need to make mistakes.
Exactly, but I think maybe if we just did more, like I think purely, the placements for physio are quite intense and quite busy. You like pretty much working as a full-time physio, so we didn't really have a lot of extra time to be doing this, but we somehow made it work.
Yeah, probably if you're not doing full-time placement, would be a good place to start. Like if you're still really, you've got say like your set timetable of lectures, it would be a lot easier to just kind of crack along with it.
Yeah, but Audacious is good at fitting you in those time slots. So if you've got spare time, or they're really flexible on the weekends and things like that. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. So let's touch on that. What does your current sort of week look like between your placement and obviously work on my program?
Jeez.
So like I said, we've got at the moment the way it works in fourth year physio, what I touched on earlier before, is you've got 5 6-week rotations, and within those rotations, within those 6 weeks, you're working 8 to 4:30, so it's full time, and then obviously you've got your weekends, and we have 1 week off in between.
Okay.
So in between each block, we've kind of been meeting up, and I've been coming back down to Dunedin, and we've been having kind of like a power week of really just like trying to do like meetings and everything. And we were lucky enough to fit that in with Audacious as well. So that's kind of how we've been moving along, and kind of like staggered.
Yeah. I think, definitely. Obviously, the studies is the priority. Like, you don't want to be giving my program all your time, but I think it's when you just have to be a little bit more, not driven, but just be better with time management. And I think that's something that this profession has helped us with a lot, is time management, but just understanding where the priorities are. So like, if you come out to the near the placement, you've got a portfolio to do, you might have an assignment to do. Like, we were like, sweet, just focus on that. Who cares about my program at the moment? Just do that. But then when we're like, all right, we've got a presentation next week to try to get some money, we were like, sweet, full tit straight into that. Like 3 days non-stop, practicing, pitching, rejiggling it. So I guess we kind of just, as I say, like prioritized the events coming up.
Yeah, one step at a time, really.
Yeah.
That's how we took it. That was our approach.
Yeah, for sure.
Which worked.
Yeah, clearly. So what does that look like after you guys graduate? Are you planning on spending some time practicing as physios, some time on my program? Are you hoping to go all in on my program and then go back to practicing later on? What are your thoughts?
I think, well, when we finish study in November, we're going to have a pretty big summer cracking into my program and really
just making the most of it.
Yeah, making it out. Yeah. Getting it ready, because we want to start trialing it, and then I think we'll just go from juggling work with my program after that. Hopefully it's got a bit more momentum. Then it can kind of almost not run itself, but it's ticking away in the background, and we can just tweak it here and there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we both plan to just be full-time physios, because like we've just come out of school, we want to be practicing, doing what we preach, and I think maybe depending on what our employers say, but we maybe might have like 1 day a week where we just dedicate half the day to my program, or maybe it might just be the weekend for now. So we'll see. But our priorities will be our profession, and then we'll work on my program after that.
And then like the beauty of it is it's something that we'll be able to use in a physiotherapy clinic, which is what we'll be doing for a job. So we should hopefully be able to just kind of work alongside, hopefully, and once we've got a working prototype, and then that'll make it a lot easier.
Well, you're your own target customer, right? So
exactly,
you'll be able to see a lot of the issues as they're happening, which is ideal.
Which is another reason why I don't think many people have tackled the issue, is because they're not in that space. And I think physios are just too busy. They might be thinking about that when they're 50 or 60, when they've got less patients, but at the start, no one's really thinking about it.
Yeah, they have that analogy in startup of the 65-year-old man starting a feminine hygiene product startup. That being like, you don't understand your customer at all. Why are you doing that? So definitely that's an advantage that you have. You mentioned that you have a trial over summer. What has validation looked like for you guys so far?
So physiotherapy company has agreed to, once we have a working prototype of the solution for this poor patient adherence to exercises, they're going to really try integrate it within their physios and obviously just trial it really, and then give us some feedback and then go from there.
Cool. I think a lot of these pre-concepts have come from the research that we've seen, so a lot of evidence out there around about not necessarily adherence to exercise programs, but just adherence to other programs in general, such as for osteoarthritis or things like that. So there are key elements in those papers which we can use as evidence. And we've also done a couple of surveys with only around about 50 people, but enough to kind of get us through the door. But as Jay said, the MVP will be the main trial.
Sure. And what does that MVP look like at this stage?
Oh, we should have had our laptop.
We've got a couple of UX designs, which is kind of like what it's going to look like when you log in, or when a physiotherapist logs in, and we're just kind of now just working on what features that we want to have. So we're thinking one of the main things we're kind of thinking of is having individualized videos of the patient doing their exercises. So the patient can have a bit of ownership, like, oh, that's me. They're watching themselves do these exercises, which we believe is quite important. But we're obviously going to go try that, see if that actually works.
Sure.
And then just having just some simple things like reminders that go off at like a certain time during the day that suits the patient, which will then hopefully be able to, what Toby was saying, touching on like that behaviour type of stuff really is like just make that habit.
Sure. Would committing to a time help the patient? I know when I go to a physio and they're like, do this twice a day or whatever it is, unless I go, my twice a day is going to be 10 o'clock and I don't know, 8:30, I don't really adhere. Is that something that you guys are taking into consideration? Is that kind of part of it or not really?
Yeah, somewhat. Like, I mean, we did think about it where we could talk with the patient before they leave and be like, what times of the day actually suit you for these?
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, I mean, if you got kids, you got a full-time job, and for some reason you can't be doing those exercises till they've all gone to bed at like 9 o'clock at night, be like, all right, well, if you think that time will work for you, then we'll set it up that reminder comes in then, and then I can see if you've done those at that time of that day. But yeah, I think, as you say, having structure to the day also helps build habits.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So definitely a key part of it. Yeah.
Choosing a time that you can actually set aside to do the
Yeah.
exercises rather than hoping that you'll find the time.
Yeah.
It's like starting anything new, right? It's,
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you set aside the time, you'll end up, working on my program on the weekends and after hours and whatever you can squeeze in a minute.
Getting in trouble.
With who?
No one.
So outside of Audacious, so obviously you guys got some great support from that in terms of the prize, in terms of the workshops and everything that you went through. What's the support from the startup community in Dunedin been like for you so far?
Yeah, it's been superb.
Massive. Yeah.
It's been awesome.
I think, Dunedin's just got such an awesome startup vibe. Like, anyone we talk to who's in that same space, it's just like, yeah, we'll help you. Like, what do you need? What do you want? Like, we can't give you money, but we can give you lots of resources and our time, and we can give you connections and stuff. So, like, I think it's better to be here than anywhere else in New Zealand, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and then you like tie in the fact with like the university being here as well, and you've got all those fresh ideas, like, coming here and like running around, and Dunedin has really helped. And like Toby said, we've had so much. We're like so grateful with what people have offered us, and like just with like support and just giving us just like tips and stuff.
Cool.
Even just like meeting up and just having a yarns, which helps like us as well.
Like, I mean, we've got like 5 meetings set up for this week, and no one wants anything from us. They're all just willing to give us advice.
We've got nothing to give them here.
just love and affection. Yeah.
Cool. And so it gets to a point, I guess, where you need to choose the advice that you take and the advice that you don't listen to. Has that been a bit of a struggle for you guys in terms of the number of opinions that you get on what you're doing?
Yeah. There's been so many different angles put towards us about how we could go about it and what we could do, and we're like, yeah, those are real cool. Like, and it's hard to stay true to what we originally wanted to do. So it was quite good. We had a meeting earlier this week with Ben Elder where we just kind of opened it up a wee bit and then came back to it and like, actually, this is what we want to do, but there's so many different ways we could do it. So let's just focus on what we want to do and then figure out those solutions later. So
okay, bring it back to the problem.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you say all the time, but I never listen.
Almost, just like taking a step back and then stepping back in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sweet. So is there any support, I guess, in Dunedin that stands out for you guys in terms of someone that you've spoken to, or someone that's helped you along? Have you guys pitched for Rising Tide yet? Is that something that you've done?
No, not yet, but they're in our sights.
Okay.
Like we've that's something we've talked about and would definitely like to do somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
I guess like Audacious and just helping us out with everything, and then even just with providing places to work, like
totally.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Distiller,
Yeah. What's it called again?
The Distiller.
The Distiller's been like awesome because we'll be able to go there, and we've put a lot of hours in there actually.
We have,
working there, which is been superb. And then other people who have been like really supportive, like such as Scott from Findex, who's been like he's been really good as well, with just like giving us support on like the business side of things. And Toby was able to pitch.
How was that? How was pitching at Findex?
You probably couldn't have tell, but I was pretty nervous, like sitting in the crowd just like shaking, nervous pee. But It turned out all right. And then
Couldn't tell you were nervous at all.
no. I mean,
fair.
it felt good. And then we ended up winning and receiving a package from 2 Degrees as well, which was awesome, from Shane.
Yeah.
So I can't remember his last name. But
Yeah.
Shane. Yeah, and that was cool.
Yeah. So
And yeah, heaps of connections again. So like, I mean, some advice there would be just pitch whenever you can. I
Get in
guess.
front of people.
Yeah,
and
just
practice it, right?
Yeah,
even
like-
if it's like nothing that's going to really like that you don't think will benefit you.
Yeah, just
I mean,
do it.
there's people like in the room that might have the exact thing that you're missing. So
Mm.
just
New Zealand's small as well, right?
Yeah.
So chances are, even if the exact connection you need is not in the room, it's only that 2 degrees, excuse the fun,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
separation before you'll get to the other person. So yeah, definitely get out and pitch.
Yeah.
Did you watch the live stream of
yeah.
Toby pitching?
I was watching. Yeah. I was actually when touching on how nervous Toby said he was. Yeah, I was pretty nervous, and I wasn't even there. I was just like, because you got all those.
No
feelings.
faith in him.
No. I was like, because I know the feeling, like
Yeah.
that you're about to pitch. Oh no, I 100% faith in Toby, but just that feeling like you've got the adrenaline going before pitching everything. So I felt that, but yeah, no.
And it's also in some respects your baby, right? Like it's something
Yeah.
you've put a lot of time and
Yeah,
effort
yeah.
into, and now you're showing that to everyone and going, please don't hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
So of course it's going to be anxiety inducing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And because you put so much work into it, and then just you're putting it out there for you're pretty vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because like you can there's someone that say like, no, that's crap.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, which is quite scary. So you got to be prepared for that. And like everyone's been real supportive and.
And it's also like, we're not from a business background, so talking about business to people who know exactly what we're saying, it's just like, you guys are idiots. Like,
Yeah,
what are
it's
you
been
doing?
pretty intimidating.
But as I say,
Nobody's
everyone
as
knows.
much of an expert as what they say. There's always people in the room that nobody in the room knows everything.
That's
right?
true,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too nervous on that. The other thing, I was at a Angel Investing 101 night last night over at the Distiller, and they were rattling off some stats because they did a study into the angel scene in New Zealand a few years ago. I think it was 2009, and the report that got published said that despite the demographic being stale, male, and pale, it was the most diverse demographic in terms of opinions and arguments that this person had ever done in it was X number of decades of research, right? So every angel investor disagreed on what companies they think they should invest in, why they thought they should invest in that company versus this company. They were all completely diverse to each other in terms of their opinions, which was really interesting, right?
Yeah,
Especially when you go, you're a startup and you go and you pitch to an angel group, or you pitch at something like Found X, there's angels in the room, and somebody tells you you're crap. Chances are somebody else is actually going, man, these guys are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that whole thing, don't count yourself out based on that, it's too small sample size
For sure.
from the angels. What was your opinion on party popper versus, I don't know what you call those things.
Oh, the
Party blower?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think definitely the party popper. We always seem to leave it to the last minute to go get those things.
Which one? Yeah. We're like, oh.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's
no.
like.
For people not that haven't seen the pitch, you can jump on the Facebook page and watch their pitch at the last Found X. But there's this part of your pitch. What part of the pitch is it? It's where you guys say
Positive impact
Positive
slide.
impact.
yeah, about to talk about positive impact, and they get party poppers and pull them just before you say that, right?
Yeah.
And for this one, you decided to switch to
A party
Those.
blower.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was Spider-Man. Yeah.
what inspired the switch?
Let's clean up.
Yeah. I think it was before we were going to. I think it was momentum. I think we use do we use a party bar for momentum? The
No,
momentum.
I did. Yeah. No, we did.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did. Yeah.
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 So and then I think there was just the $2 shop closest to what they had.
That's what they
Yeah.
had. So you're like, yeah, okay, yeah.
And also Rachel said we scared the hell out of her. We did it the first time. So
There
we
were
were
some
like,
people in the front row that full on jumped out of their seats when the party poppers went
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
it's a good way to get attention.
Oh, 100%. Anybody that was asleep definitely woke up,
Yeah, exactly.
started paying attention.
That's what we need.
Cool. So in terms of pitch preparation, is that something that you guys just kind of worked on through Audacious, or was there people that you spoke with externally before getting up and pitching?
Yeah. So I think through Audacious it was us and then yourself.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. And then that went well.
Yeah.
But then for our follow-up pitch, we talked to Nick from Flux Capacitor.
Oh, from Queenstown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from Queensland. Yeah, and he gave some really good points on just like the layout of the pitch and just, put some pictures in there and things like that, which was cool.
Yeah, that was unbelievable what he did. That was
Yeah,
So good.
he helped us out heaps. But yeah, I think even when you think it's like ready to go, just pitch it to somebody else before you do the pitch, and they'll be like, "Oh, do this, change that, change this," and just take it all on board.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think, you have that heaps.
Cheers, mate. That's what I was looking for. Just a pat on the back.
Yeah, we plug. Yeah.
It's an interesting thing as well, because like what I was saying before about angels disagreeing with each other, it's the same thing with pitches. So many people will tell you to pitch in different ways. We were talking to the next farm team, and they had pitch feedback from like 5 different people in 1 week, and basically been told exact polar opposite things from different people, like put this in, no, take that out, and they were like, well, you can only make so many people in the room happy. So I guess you get to that stage when that starts happening, you're like, okay, I think we've probably got it in a good spot. If the feedback that we're getting is just against itself.
And then you got also you got to back your guns as well.
Oh, 100%.
You got to have some confidence in what you're doing as well, and so in like what you believe. So that definitely helps a bit. If you're having like stuff like that, just gotta go, all right, like, why are we here? And then
and don't change it before the pitch. Just, just leave it.
We're a couple of times last night, like some late nights before the pitch, and we've like would try to change it, and then we've been like, nah, come on, let's just
leave it. Just
leave it. Yeah,
stick to your guns. Yeah, definitely. And a lot of, you guys have only pitched for 5 minutes each time, right?
Yeah, I think the longest was Momentum. Was that 15 minutes?
10 minutes and 5 minutes for questions.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a bit different. But when you're pitching for like 5 minutes, you can really only give people a hook. And in terms of all the depth of information, that's what people will ask about afterwards, and they come up to you and meet with you afterwards. So what you guys do with the party poppers and how you explain your story in that 5 minutes, I think is in a really cool position.
Yeah. And I think, like as you were saying, and as Nick was saying, one thing that's quite good in that 5 minutes is that people find a connection with yourself as well. So not just your idea, but also you as a person. So if you seem like you're approachable, and like not that you got your head switched on, but that you're actually passionate about what you're doing, then they're more likely to come talk to you after, rather than you just rattling off all these stats, don't really look like you care, and then because obviously we do care, but you've just got to show that
you're really relate to because like essentially even for like physio, like our patients, they're in the audience. So like you got to make involve them in it, and that's why when we have that kind of like at the beginning of each pitch, we'll involve them and ask them a question like who's been to the physio, and then obviously you get the raised hands and who's done their exercises, and all the hands go down. I mean, it's just that buy-in really
definitely, and such a simple way to demonstrate.
Exactly. It sets a tone as well. Then
100%,
which is what we did in the last pitch as well. If you have a look. Really involve them in the start. So
we got everyone to stand up and have a stretch because they've been sitting down a while.
Exactly.
That was cool. That was really cool. So does it feel real? I know a lot of people that go through Audacious or a similar program, it feels like you're kind of playing business and you're not actually in a business. Are you guys past that now? Do you feel like it's real, or do you feel like you're still kind of in that playing stage?
We're like almost there.
Yeah, we're kind of on the. I feel like we're on the brink.
It's about to snowball.
We're kind of leaving that comfort of university behind, and that kind of like your own like insulated little world, and we're kind of looking out, and just about to take the jump.
And I think from what I know, I don't know a lot, but it seems like a lot of startups. Like that's their life, like that's their living. If this doesn't work, they don't know what they're going to do. Whereas like me and Dre, we've got our health profession in the background. Like that's what we'll be doing for our life. That's going to be our career.
Do you think that safety net helps you or hinders you?
I think it
swings both ways.
Yeah, it can swing both ways for sure. Like time commitments, as we said before, but I think that financial security of there's going to be money, and like this isn't the be all end all of our career or our life. There's
I think depends how you look at it, but I think both Toby and I see it as as a positive.
We see it as fun, and it's going to we see it as a fun thing. Like it's not like I have to go do this right now. Like we're like, oh cool, like what else can we do? Like you know, like it's it's fun. It's not a job.
Because we're essentially building a toy that we can play with.
Sort of,
So that kind of like we're invested in it because it's something that we can see ourselves using. which helps a lot.
Yeah, it definitely comes back to being your own target customer, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
And I think because, as I was saying before, like we're interested in making a difference. Like we want to help people, and I think that's a big driver in what we're doing as well.
Apparently, that's a big driver for angel investors, according to the workshop that I was at last night. One of the things that they consider
Get in
is,
touch.
Yeah, get in touch if you'd like to come to Angel 101 with AA and Z.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, apparently one of the things they say is, angel investors, if they were just after money, they wouldn't invest in startups because it's such high risk. The stat that always gets thrown around is one will actually, be the unicorn that's super successful. I think it's something like 7 will fail, and then 2 that you'll get your money back on. But what they've found is recently that cohort of 10 is now like 35. And now apparently maybe they're thinking it's closer to 50. So if you're a startup, you're going to need to be passionate, and you're going to need to have drivers outside of money to succeed. And if you're an angel investor, you're going to need to have motivation outside of money to want to angel invest. And they look for founders that are passionate, and they look for founders that are doing it for reasons other than the money. So in that respect, I think you guys are in a pretty cool position.
And that was like a key point. I can't remember his name at Takeaways last week.
Alex or Rodney? Second or first guy?
Second guy.
Second guy. So Alex.
Yeah. That's something he said as well, where his startup at the start didn't go too well because he was thinking more about money, but the second one worked out real well because he was thinking about the customer and the person they were selling it to, and wanting to make a difference in what they were doing. So yeah, I think for sure I can see that.
What did you think of the Takeaways event?
It was good. It was really good. It took down lots of notes, a lot of scary things, but a lot of real things to be aware of. Yeah, it's not just the startup scene, but your own personal life as well. You got to be careful.
Yeah. I think people try to separate those things a lot of the time, separate startup and separate personal, but at the end of the day, when things get stressful in either of those, it's going to
clash.
Bleed into each other, right? So yeah.
And that's what Ben said yesterday was make sure you look after yourself.
Mental health for sure.
Because that can be because if you can imagine if you're so invested in your like you said, like your little project or your little baby, when you put so much time into it and then you feel like everything's crumbling, then you can really feel like you've just wasted your time. And
I've heard it once described as like in regards to self-esteem and having baskets that you put your self-esteem eggs in. If you have all of your eggs in one basket, it's a huge amount of risk, right? But whereas if you have a little bit in my program, a little bit in rock climbing, a little bit in physiotherapy, a little bit in your family and your relationships, all that sort of stuff, then if one of them starts to fail, you're kind of protected because you're diversified. It's an interesting one. Takeaways, for anybody that's wondering at home, is an event that we run, I guess, once a month now. And we get a founder to come in and talk about the times when everything went wrong. So, the business deal that goes bad, the angel investor that pulls out, all that sort of stuff. And then it's founder only. So we just have founders in the room that get to then talk to each other and share those experiences as well. So I thought I'd get that in there just in case anybody was going, what was that they were talking about?
Takeaways.
And we call it takeaways because you do bring your own takeaway food as well, which of course we make sure is nice and nutritious and going to speed up your recovery.
For sure.
And align with the physiotherapist recommendations. So I know you guys are saying, it's really fun at the moment. You're enjoying it. You love jumping into the work with my program whenever you get the chance. What are the big challenges that you guys are facing right now? Are there things that you're looking ahead and going, we're not quite sure how we're going to conquer that, or we need to fix this before we're able to move forward?
Yeah, definitely. Like where we were just talking before, like we don't have the money right now for some of the things we want to do. Do we want to get the people who are doing those things on board? Or is that going to be a hindrance later on in life, later on in my project life, and then we can't either sell on or get more people on board, sort of thing. So we're we don't really know
to expand or
we don't really know what the future holds. So we don't know. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure right now. We just want to keep it between us, slowly trickle along until we know, that's who we need, that's what we want to do. But I guess that's like a big thing that we're not too sure about. Is
what's the fear in terms of taking on a team member that person you won't want in the business later on? Is that the...
not that we don't want them, but more like they might have different ideas, or they might want things done certain ways. Like, for example, when listening to Alex, takeaways, how he had the whole initial hiccup with a co-founder, and just those sort of stories are quite scary. Like, I don't want to be in the position where we have to fire somebody, even though I wouldn't imagine having employees yet. But like, like that kind of thing. But I guess sometimes we do have to take risks.
Yeah, and it's about how you mitigate that risk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you can do things like vesting your shares. So rather than, you getting 50% straight away and being able to leave whenever you want, you get 10% a year. And then after 5 years, your 50% is fully vested and you get that 50%.
Yeah,
if you left in 2 years, you'd only get 20% rather than that whole amount. But I mean, that, it's one of the ways you can kind of reduce that risk. If you are bringing on someone, so what sort of, are you talking a technical co-founder? Is that what the
It's different in terms of like software design and like those sorts of things, psychology as well.
Yeah, it's like, because definitely, as you were saying before, a lot of the evidence out there is around the psychological sides of behavior change, and we know a little bit, but we feel like we might need a psychologist on board to help with that. And then again, we feel like we might need someone with software development skills to build platforms that we want to use. And again, we don't
design as well.
So there's lots of things that we need to probably think more about around those aspects. In terms of
who you bring in onto the team.
Yeah. So that's been a challenge, and also just being students at this stage and having to like pass our placements as well, as that's I found being quite a challenge, because. You go from like, I've got a pitch coming up, to like going on, and then you've got, I've got my assessment coming up with my clinical educator, like that's on Tuesday and pitches on Wednesday. So
how do you prioritize it and spend your time and make sure that you get enough out of both of them? So I guess it comes back to like being able to like just take a step back and see what's important. But we've managed to tiptoe our way through it so far.
For sure.
Are you still finding time for yourselves?
Yeah.
And a long pause.
Definitely. I think my partner definitely helps out with that.
Okay.
She definitely keeps me grounded and finding things to do outside of like being so serious all the time. But
shout out B.
Cheers B. But I think we do have. I can't speak for you, Joe, but I definitely try and find time. But it has taken quite a bit of time recently. But that's just because we've started up. You need to nurture the baby, as we say. You don't want to leave it to.
That's food. And also, I guess another challenge has been the business side of things. Like we've had when we first came into, we had like no idea about. Like accounts and those sorts of things, and then like having a proper timeline on what that looks like. We've kind of just we first was like, we got this and we're going to make it, and there we go. So that obviously like learning on the way and talking to people has helped with, it doesn't quite work like that.
Is that a role that you guys are thinking about potentially filling at some stage with my program?
I think definitely there's definitely space.
There's definitely there's a few spaces that we're looking to fill, but just timing. I think once we know what's happening, and even when we know what's happening, we probably don't know what's happening. But we need that person, we need to do this, and we do it now, then we'll be like, yes, wait, who's ready?
Totally. And you want to have a validated product, right, before you start building a team around it?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like we want something like solidified. That this is what we got, and this is what we're working towards.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than a couple of pictures.
This is what it could look like.
So, say we look into the future 6 months. If you guys were to look back and say, we're really happy with where we're at, what would you have achieved in that 6 months?
I think having a prototype.
Having a prototype?
An MVP, so minimum viable product in 6 months that we're trialing and we're getting results.
Which shows that it's helping to improve adherence to exercise.
Okay.
So if it could show that, then I'd be over the moon.
Awesome.
Because then that is essentially that is a problem we're trying to solve, is adherence to exercise. So over the moon.
Cool.
And if obviously have a career as well.
Yeah.
Both be hired physios.
But yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
cool.
That'd be helpful. Are you hoping to be hired in the same region?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ideally, like especially in the first like year or so when we're when my program will hopefully pick up speed.
Yeah. We're like,
In the
yeah,
same
'cause,
area.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hopefully here in Dunedin, yeah.
Yeah.
Stick around for a bit longer.
Stay in Dunedin a bit longer. Stay with the startup scene down here.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Why
nice.
leave something good, you know? Just stay
100%.
here.
Well, you're Dunedin born and bred, right?
No.
As well. Well,
It may seem like it.
Yeah.
you've lived here for a while, though.
I lived
right?
here for 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years. Okay. Yeah.
7 years? Yeah, 7
Yeah.
years.
We're both from the North Island.
Yeah, I'm from Taranaki.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from Hawke's Bay.
Yeah. From Rotorua and live in Hawke's Bay now. So, but yeah, we've somehow found our way down.
Yeah, and my whole family lives here now. So I mean, like
That's
there's-
I guess
there's-
why I thought you were from here. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they've all got houses. They're all most of them are married. Like this is home now. So it's kind of I'm definitely a family orientated person, but
Yeah.
we'll just see what the future holds.
Yeah, definitely. So outside of startup scene,
Mm.
what's something that you enjoy about Dunedin? What do you like about being down here outside of that? Is it something that you guys do on the weekend or somewhere that you spend your time? Could be a favourite bar, could be a favourite beach. Is there something that you guys love about Dunedin outside of the startup scene?
I have to think.
So many options, right?
Yeah.
So many options. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moscow AFC.
As I say, like I quite enjoy my family time down here, which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, just
He said Mosgiel AFC under his jacket.
yeah.
Sorry, it's just a football thing.
Wouldn't understand.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend lives down here, so
That helps.
yeah. So it's cool coming down and spending time with her and her family.
Yeah.
Favorite bar. I guess you say, what isn't our favorite bar? Really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's so many new ones popping up at the moment.
The Cook's closing as well, isn't
Cook's
it?
closing. Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know, like the food scene here is pretty good, and I've got a career here and working in the cafe as well.
Yeah.
Making coffee, so I mean I quite enjoy that. But I guess just getting out, there's heaps of walks around, like, and when it's sunny, it's awesome here.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Otago's a cool place. Central Otago and stuff like that. It's
I feel like a lot of students don't see it when it's sunny because you come.
yeah.
You're not here December, January, February. Well, you obviously just at the end of February.
Yeah.
And those are some of the best months in Dunedin, right? January here is phenomenal, and there's everything's so close. Like I love that you've got the peninsula just there, the beach just out there. You've, as you said, got an awesome food scene in the city here. There's it seems like there's something for everyone here.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Apparently, a lot of movies will start being filmed down here as well. I was talking to
Oh, really?
Anthony Deaker, who looks after film tourism at the council.
Okay.
And he was talking about how people planning to, where they're going to, what locations they're going to film in New Zealand, like Dunedin, because you've got some streets here that look like really gritty, and you've got alleyways and stuff that you can use, but at the same time you've got the countryside and like beaches and stuff that just like literally 15-20 minutes away. So as someone that's planning a movie, you can be like, oh, cool, I can make this scene here, I can put that scene there, and you don't actually have to travel a whole lot to do them.
Because didn't they just film like a movie at like University of Otago?
Yeah, a horror film.
Yeah, Black Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah, I met somebody that was wearing a cool jacket, and I was like, "Where did you get it?" And they're like, I bought it for $8 because my flatmate was one of the extras in that movie.
Oh, really?
And they sold off all the clothing afterwards.
Well,
That's sick.
But yeah, it's starting to pick up down here in terms of that stuff too. So, if anybody's thinking about moving to Dunedin, you might meet some famous people if they end up filming some cool stuff down here.
Got some good physios down here as well.
yeah. They need physios on the scene. Massage will be there. Well, it's not all we do.
Love it. So obviously I've asked if you're looking into the future, what you guys want to achieve. In terms of things you might have done differently, if you could go back in time, is there anything that you guys would change about your journey so far, or wish that you'd done earlier, or more of, or sooner, if you were to look back into the past?
I don't know.
Maybe more like validation at the start, like because we had like a little bit of validating what we wanted to do at the start of the Audacious journey, but because I was so busy and Joe was so busy on placement, we kind of lost sight of all the important things within the idea, that we kind of just went through with what we thought rather than what was actually the case.
Yeah.
So maybe more of that.
More like more testing and just experimenting, I think.
Testing your assumptions.
Yeah. So
okay.
because it's really easy to be like, to when you, especially even just talking to people, to be like, to give them the solution first.
Yeah.
So you go like, oh, look, we've got this app for physiotherapy, and they go, yeah, great. That's really good. And then you're like, good. And then that's pretty much like the extent of your conversation. Like, whereas like if you kind of take a step back and be like, yeah, we're looking to improve the way patients are given to exercises given to patients at physiotherapy, and then they'll be like, yeah, and they'll
it opens the conversation.
yeah, exactly. They'll be like, oh, this like, I found this helped and this didn't help, and then you're like, oh yeah, right, and then you'll be like, oh, if we can do this, and then it's just a lot more productive.
Totally.
So
and it might not be an app, and it doesn't narrow them down to thinking it's just going to be an app.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably like what I'd probably like to do differently. And I don't know if you agree, Toby, but don't come into the market, don't come into the scene with your solution.
Yeah. Okay.
Come in with like what I said earlier, with your what you want to fix.
Yeah.
And then going with like Audacious, then that's how they'll really like kind of like tease it out of you.
Tease the solution out.
Yeah.
Although not
Or
many
redirect
ideas
it.
start with a problem, right? So
Yeah,
ideas start with a
exactly.
solution, and that's the big struggle. I think the thing where you guys are really lucky is that you didn't sit on your solution for 6 years before you came in and actually spoke about it with people.
Yeah.
The longer that people sit on it, the more biased they become towards being like, this is the only way, because I've dreamt about it every night for 6 years and thought about it in the shower and on the way to work, on my drive, and that's where it gets really dangerous, right? That's where it gets really hard to detach from it and remove yourself from it. Because it becomes more and more like your baby, right? It becomes more and more part of yourself.
It does. Yeah, and like because we were talking about it last week, and this week we were like, maybe we could do this differently. And we were like, oh, well, that's what we were trying to do the whole time. Like, and they were like, well, actually, we kind of just need to just let that bit go, or just change that bit a little bit, or just step back, as we were saying. So,
letting go of things has been
it
hard.
is difficult. Yeah, because I thought at the start, I was like, oh, you could easily, if it doesn't work, just forget about it, do something else. But
is it a sunk cost thing? Is it because you feel like you've put time and energy into that you don't want to let it go? Is that
I think that's like...
Yeah, time and energy and cost for sure. Yeah.
And kind of thinking about like how long it took to come to this, what we have now, having to, like you said, having to just scrap it all is pretty daunting. Not saying that it's like...
No, it's not worthless at all, because like I'm a big believer in, like, no matter how long it takes, as long as you've learned something from that time, like whether if you're at like someone's conference for the day and all you've taken away is 2 points, then it was worth it, because you wouldn't know that otherwise. So I think like we have learned some valuable things along the way. So like it wasn't worthless, but definitely don't get attached.
Cool.
Yeah.
So one final question before we wrap things up. What do you want our audience to take away with them? What message do you want them to take?
I guess if you're a patient out there and you've got an
and
injury,
physios.
and physios, just tell your physio my program. Get them thinking about it, and maybe get them to support us as well, because it's like we needed everyone to do it rather than just a few clinics, because it needs to be a big national change rather than just a few clinics here and there. So, because I know that there are a few people trying to do similar things, but if everyone's on the same page doing the same sort of scenario, then it'll be a lot better. Yeah.
And we'd love to hear back from like patients and physios alike. So I don't know if you want to like get in touch. I mean,
just email us or something.
We'll have their contact details.
Yeah. And do your exercises.
And if anyone wants to support us with like financial things, then for sure it won't be put to waste. So
awesome. Tell your physiotherapist about my program. Thanks guys for coming on the show.
Cool, no.
Cheers, Angus.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been awesome.